Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's a Friday. It's a Friday. We're going to continue working with what we were working on before, though, because I think everybody is kind of out of pocket at the moment. Um, so that's all right. They'll be back. It'll be good. Nobody's going anywhere permanently. So we'll just have to see when people decide to join us again, which, that'll happen. Still don't see music really kind of going out there. Like there. There you go. See, now you can see some music on the board there. Let's bring it up just a little more. I don't want it to be oppressive, but it's got to be something. Doodly doo 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 doo. We're waiting for Daz to load, and I'm checking things off of my to-do list. Make sure we've got everything under control. All right. Checked a lot of things off here on my to-do list. That's a good thing. We're still waiting for Daz to load. Still need to do that. 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 We got lots to do. Got lots to do. Lots to do. And they've got this camera I'm kind of contemplating getting that sits in the middle of your monitor right here, so that when you're on things like this show, you can sit there and just look straight at the camera when you're talking. And I've kind of contemplated it because it would be kind of cool. Of course, I could build pretty much the same thing with a bunch of mirrors, put the camera turned this way with a mirror turned this way in the center, like a little runway mirror kind of going this way. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I could put it on a pivot so that it pivots down so it's not in the way of the monitor during the day. The more I think about this, the more I kind of like the design of it. Wonder if I could make, something that kind of sits halfway. Mm-hmm. This is thinking, guys. This is how you use the thinky thing. Why is Dad still loading? This is a long time for Daz to load. Is this because Daz is already loaded and I just don't see it? Every day the computer gets a little slower about things. Why are you? I literally have done nothing today. Why are you? There we go. Daz is loading. Good morning, Brent. really think something is very strange with OneDrive. Like, what are you still doing, OneDrive? Because you're just clogging up the entire computer, doing whatever it is that you're still synchronizing. I mean, I drew a couple of pictures yesterday and a couple of pictures last night, but I haven't done a lot. Certainly, they're all JPEGs, so they should have synchronized last night sometime and not still synchronizing this morning. Well, I'm going to temporarily suspend OneDrive. Yeah, well, I can't suspend OneDrive because my system is running so slow. Okay. It's trying to load the news now instead of loading. So how you doing, Brent? I'm going to have to wait because apparently my computer now is so tied up trying to open OneDrive that we'll just have to wait. No systems are working now. Everything's locked up. I'm having a real problem with this. I have an i5 6-core with a GT 2000 series GPU, 2 hard drives with a total of 8 terabytes, 32 gigs of memory, and loading up one browser window. I can't. We've talked about this. There are no programs that mimic DAZ Studio or do Clip Studio. I would love to do Linux. I would love to do Linux a lot, but I would have to literally hand code all of my programs, and I would not be drawing for 5 or 6 years. That's just not acceptable. I cannot believe I hear you, and I hear what the guys at the computer store are saying. I can't believe that. Not that. Computer, stop. I can't believe that an SSD is the reason why it takes 120 to 240 seconds to close the little Microsoft News thingy down at the. Okay, you're really stuck too. Oh, now it's done. As soon as yeah, okay, so it was stuck on something because the lower decks screenshot that I took last night, and we're talking about at 9:30 last night, so 12 hours ago. 12 hours ago, it just uploaded that JPEG just now. It's a 2 megabyte JPEG. So I don't think it takes 12 hours to upload. Something is stuck. So when you say SSD, I totally agree. And I'm going to put an SSD in. And in fact, I'm going to put another 32 gigabyte stick in there. But I can't believe that I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm afraid that I'm going to end up spending $300 and still be here. And I'll be like, well, that was great. I mean, hey, now it goes really fast until it stops on something for 2 hours, Yeah, I think the RAM may have been a major mistake. I think I'm going to just have to go buy another stick of 32. Because I think that may have been a major mistake for me. But that's okay. At least that's curable. I don't have a problem with going from 32 gigs to 64 gigs. It's never going to hurt me to do, extra stuff. That's never going to hurt. The problem that I've got is the SSD for multiple reasons. One, as soon as I install the SSD on here, I have to reinstall everything all over again. I mean, look at this. Look at the frame rate all of a sudden. It's really, really slow. Yeah, I get it. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm running OBS, DAZ Studio, Clip Studio Paint, and Photoshop, and then one browser window. And I get that Photoshop is a hog, but we're not running Photoshop right now. And I'm literally running the same programs I was running last June before I bought this computer setup. And it ran fine. It only started to bog down when we got to a certain point. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I totally hear what you're saying, but I upgraded my computer and it's going slower. And I guess part of the reason that I'm frustrated is it was running a little slow. Like we were at 30 frames a second over here instead of 60. And sometimes when I would stream games, it would run at 30 frames instead of 60, which wasn't a real problem. But I figured, we're hitting the top end of what I've got available to me. So I upgraded the entire system in July of last year, and now it's running at 5 frames. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Yeah, you're probably right. An SSD and memory will help. But the point that I'm kind of getting at is, I get a newer car, and the newer car is slower than the old car, and everybody's saying, "Well, just get a newer car." I'm like, I feel like there's something else that's the problem, and I feel like we'll just get a Ferrari, and and we'll find out that they're putting diesel in it, and that's the problem. So the TLDR on this is I totally am going to get another stick of 32 gigs of RAM. That'll help that system right there. That should at least speed us up because we'll have 2 buses going through. I feel like a lot of this might be a RAM issue. Like it's shoving so much stuff into RAM so fast that we're getting issues. And that I do think is a problem. I think I have introduced an issue doing that. But on the flip side, I feel like this shouldn't be running super slow because we should be doing just fine on this. Oh, yeah. I wasn't expecting you to. I figure there's only so much you can do, right? What happens if I turn this down to gray, mid-gray like that? So, looking at this, part of this is that it wasn't dark enough to see what's going on here. And I don't mean to be frustrated with you there, Brent. I'm sorry. This is one of those where every expert I talk to keeps saying I need a faster car, and I keep saying I bought a faster car and it's running slower. And they're like, "That's because you don't have a faster car." And I'm like, I think we're missing the point. So I'm going to go on ahead and darken down all of these layers and give them a 50% gray. And so, yeah, anyway, I don't mean to be yelling at you, man. You're doing just fine. I think there's something else going on, and I'm not sure what it is. We're going to take the camera. We're going to create a new camera. We have to create a new camera every time because the perspective camera doesn't do the things that the doodly doodly doo. We're actually going to go here. Did you see that meme that was going around that said, "Why are IT people so grumpy?" And the person answered and said, "I drove 2 hours to turn on a device that 3 people assured me was already on." It's like, yep, that's the life. That's what you guys go through every time. So I did this specifically because now I can actually like adjust our screen and get a better view of what this looks like in sort of a dramatic way, right? So and then let's see if this looks cool or right. And this is a new thing too that Daz is doing, and I don't know what the story is, but I don't have a progress bar anymore for render. So without a progress bar, you kind of click the button and then you hope that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yep, because see, then it does this. And then poof, we have a render, whether we like it or not. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, but I still see, like, I'm not seeing it's doing something really weird with the aliasing. I'm not sure what that is because we should be able to read that. We're mowing again. And like weird things like this shouldn't be transparent, but it is. I don't know. So, what's our settings look like here? Because I'll bet you we will go find that our surfaces settings are set low or something. Won't help us any because it's just a square tile, but so let's look at our render controls. Right, let's first set it for that, and then let's just open this up and let's take a look at miscellaneous controls. No headlamp, we don't need that. Destination, dimensions. All right, so if we go to NVIDIA, I wonder if we'll get a different render out of it. At least we're back to having a progress thing. Oh, that one dark. It'll get brighter as we move along. That said, it does kind of look pretty kick butt. I feel like this is closer to what I'm after anyway. Right? Right? I love maps. It's one of those things because I know these one or two people are kind of going, what? Guys making maps again? And the answer is, well, yeah, but I really do like it. Alex, what Alex, my buddy Alex says every time is, if you are getting the pleasure hit from the pleasure center of your brain, then it's worth it. It's like, okay. So I'm just going to say that I do like the general look of this better. I can see the depth of the clouds. I can see where clouds are. That's kind of cool. And things are much more readable, I think, in this method. So, okay, let's put this in because I think we can go with this one. We can go with this. This is a better thing. We'll light it better though. So we'll create a new distant light. We'll call it distant light. We'll call it this land. We'll call it your grave. Oh, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. All right. We're just rigging the light to be shining on the correct area here. I don't know why the camera seems stuck to it, but okay. I didn't move it, so I guess there's that. Okay. Distant light 1. And that should light this side pretty well. Let's light over here. But distant light 2. Why is the camera stuck in the front there? That way it kind of lit on each level. Is that the perspective camera that got moved? I think it is. No, not really. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, let's put in our stars. Because I'm curious if we were to put the stars like they're supposed to be. And we will create a new primitive. And this one will create a sphere. And its diameter will be 1 centimeter. And accept it. We will find it. Of course, it wandered off somewhere. There it is. We'll move this guy up. Now, what I am curious about is if you were to take this sphere, which represents a star, I could make it black, certainly, and that would make some sense. Right? But what I am curious is if I were to take this star right here and instead go in here like here to this spot and then from the left view, my right view, because we can't see anything on the left view. I don't think we can see anything on the right view. Move back to the left view. How would we know? We can't tell. So if I were to take and then make this guy here so that he emits light. Right. Then what would happen? Would we get a star in there? Would it shine? As much as I like to make funny faces, I should have been a comedian. Okay, now that star is in there, I don't really see him lighting up the map, though. I feel like that should be lightier. Let's make it lightier. Okay, so mission temperature should be right around. It's a yellow star, so we'll make it down here. Mission profile, new luminance, a lot more. Base color yellow. That way we can see it. Yep, I don't know what to do about that. Glossy color. It's not glossy. Should be very bright. And let's bring that up to like 7,000 and take a look. Because I mean, it would be kind of cool if the lights illuminated the clouds like you imagine that they would illuminate the clouds in the map. Well, I see it. I feel like it's not really lighting up the map. I kind of was hoping that this would light up the map and you'd be able to see the stars. But I'm feeling like we're not getting what we want. Okay. Well, sometimes I feel like, well, everything has should we set for meters squared? Okay, so it's already set for where it's going. So let's go ahead and give it some serious light. Now it's bright. I feel kind of like these maps are hard to discern anyway. And I may regret the other layers in this. I still don't feel like it's shining its light, which makes me wonder if something is set wrong. Because it's now set for some ridiculous light. It's making me wonder whether I have set something wrong. Entirely plausible. No regrets. Lower Decks last night was awesome. I had a particularly entertaining Ta'ana moment. And Ta'ana is my by far favorite Lower Decks character. And so I'm going to let this render way down to the end. Just in case it's putting in the luminance as an overlay. It's not. Okay. Because I was hoping that maybe sometimes I've seen it where it'll render and then the last thing it renders in is all the lights from the light sources, because then it can do all of the ray tracing all at once for the light sources. And so well, okay guys, I'm thinking first of all make this about 50% its size. All right. So let's go ahead and just put the little posts in that indicate altitude. And then we can fix this as we need to. It's you. And then we do Y scale. Why not scale? Okay. And then we make sure that we're actually on location. And then we check the star. Make sure the star is on its post. And we put first problem is that it's not actually on the plate. There we go. Make sure it's actually covering the spot. All right. The cylinder needs to be black. Surface cylinder emissions new. Material base color black. It needs to be flat. So no gloss, no shine. I am kind of still wondering why our star here is not actually generating light. You know what? I know how to fix this. Render presets, iRay, right? And not a sundial. Shader presets, iRay. Das Uber, emissive. Works for me. When all else fails, use the built-in doodly wops. Emissive temperature is in the yellow. Alexa forgot to turn it on. Probably. Probably okay. Then let's see if this worked. Render. I gotta say, if my Alexa controls our sun, we got issues. Yeah, still not promising. I made it emissive. I mean, don't get me wrong. This looks pretty kick butt, right? I mean, we're getting to it where you can actually really kind of get a feel for everything. But it really would be cool if those could be lit up. And I'm feeling like we're still not lighting up. So let's go ahead and figure out if our renderer has a problem. Ooh, bloom filter. That is useful. Progressive alpha render mode update completion miscellaneous general. I feel like when I finally find out what's going on here, I'm going to be really irritated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go, oh, I get it. I guess I don't have a 2000 series board. It's a 1660 Ti. Still not a bad one. Yeah, it's still a pretty decent card. It shouldn't. I mean, it. There we go. We're getting some light bloom off of it. Look at that. It's shiny. Now, if it would just a light, that's at least a start. Look at us starting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Look at us starting. Here we go. Okay. Go over to our sphere. I'm going to turn your luminance up. Actually, I'm going to do this. Just kill the CDs. We got to kill the CDs. There we go. Now we have a star. And the star is actually behaving like a star. That was what it was. That actually looks cool. I mean, that's pretty kick butt. I'm just saying that's pretty kick butt, you know? Okay. You really think I need a Dyson sphere system, huh? All right. Turn that up to 25,000. That should give us enough oomph to be not a problem. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to say duplicate node. And we're going to take you and move. Wait, do I not get? I don't get. Okay, fine. And we'll take a top view. Wow, too close. And you will be this star. And let's grab the master book. Because one of the things we are going to do is ascertain where all of this stuff went. There we go. All right. So this guy is Galarian. That way we know. I didn't do this last time, and I regret my choices. This guy is merely keep. Move this guy to here. And I hate that. Because now we've got to replace both of these. Because he's not merely keep 2. Replace you first. Harlow H. Heartland. Hold. A Dyson Sphere? Nothing wrong with Dyson Spheres. Just they are Galarian. It's not Galarian. Galarian is a duplicate node. Move you to here. It's okay. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. Who are you? This is Westlow's Citadel. Yep, that's Westlow's Citadel. Okay. Duplicate node. And then you. I moved the wrong one, didn't I? I want to retype everything. You. I don't. I'm tired of retyping everything. You're Pothea. There's nothing wrong with the idea and the concept of the Dyson sphere. I really don't have any problem with it. It's technology that's beyond where they are here. Yes, you'd have to trash a number of solar systems to do it. Which, I mean, hey, if you've got nothing better to do but trash solar systems, be my guest, I guess. Right? I mean, that's a thing. That's Moment. This is where the first comic takes place, is at Moment. Coming out of, and this is actually good to see because now I can see these Stanhurst threads will be coming out of the Stanhurst threads and stuff like that into an arrival on that point. So that's kind of cool. I'm able to visualize a lot of what's going on so that I'm not just making random chatter, set the ship for 274 at 61B. And Roger, we're setting to 274 at 61B. And you're like, I don't even know what any of that stuff means. We'll know she's coming across the wall exclusion zone right through here and then going across these threads to come into Moment when she lands at Moment. It's already a rough, you can tell this is not going to be an easy arrival. And the whole point of the first scene in the comic book is Moment has stopped putting up their beacons. They didn't put anything into hyperspace or in space. And so she's flying blind into a solar system. And, you know, it's part of it is to show that Laura. Part of it is to show that she's pretty kick butt as a pilot. But it's also give us a little bit of action right off the bat. You know, woo, you're right into it, getting into the story right away. You know, things are going rough for our heroes. Woo, right off the bat. You know. Duplicate node. And so, Bastion de Massal. Right. And so the whole concept here is that we're going to start that scene and it's going to be like, oh, we've got this real stressful situation kind of going on. You know, hope we're okay with this. You know, is she going to make it? You know, yada yada yada. So the idea is that we've got to kind of give a little bit of some stress there. But a lot of this now actually makes sense because we'll be able to do some determination on what things are, and we'll be able to do some flight distance checks, which is also good. This is Bethune. Let's save this before we do something stupid. Also, let's check again, right? Let's see. Does it still render properly? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Right? Because here's the gap, here's the wall exclusion zone. None of them have altitude yet, by the way, so don't worry. Let's see what it looks like. Whoa! Hey, that actually kind of looks pretty cool. Kind of hard to distinguish where our stars are, but they look cool, right? It's time to take a quick break. It looks kick butt, actually. That looks really cool. Okay. We're going to take our break real quick. And I actually think, if you guys will forgive me, I'm going to go get more coffee. So everybody, let's stand up and let's get more coffee. Go get more coffee. Do, 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 do. All right. Hmm. The reason I'm doing this, and I'm noticing they're a little too bright. Even then, they look a little too bright. Because this is making it look. And what if I make 500? That make, because it makes them look bigger than they are. And I want to make it look bigger than they are. There. But now it's not as illuminated. Huh. Maybe it's a bloom issue. And instead of knocking down the render, maybe I should be fixing the bloom of it. Let's do that. Because we have bloom set over here in the render, right? Bloom filter enable. Brightness scale. So suppose I take the brightness scale and go to 0.5. What will happen? What will happen now? Right? Okay, so the bloom, I can now see the star in the core piece, which is good. So that's what we're after here. Let's fix this. Let's fix this problem. Now, so the filter going down, the radius maybe needs to go down too. You have to remember that we are, at this point, let's do this. Whoa, one. And see whether this gives me a better, because we want this to be able to light up as much. We want it to be very bright. We want it to look like a star. And right now, Moment isn't lighting up the map, whereas the other stars are. And what I'm really looking for is less radius of that bloom, less of that exploding out, and more of it being centrally located around the actual star. That's where I'm headed at this point anyway. Okay, better. That, I think, we can actually bring the bloom filter radius up to like 0.05, and we'll still get the same effect that we're looking for. So that was the answer. Because now the stars look like lamps to some degree, which is what we're after. So we'll do that. We'll go to 0.5. And that may even be too much. We'll see. That's not, I don't know. That's, like I said, that may be just a little too much. So let's go on ahead and bring that down. And we'll go for, see, this is 0.05. That's what I was after, not 0.5. That may have been part of our problem. Let's see. I want them to glow, but I don't want them to be oppressive, like super bright. We've already got a super bright star back in the back over there because it's the end of Betelgeuse. There we go. Now they're a little fuzzy and furry, and they've got enough that they look like an actual star. I do kind of want 2.5. By the way, I feel like rendering and stuff in 3D is an exercise in trying to get the right thing by changing all of your numbers. There, because the bloom now allows us to see the star in the center, which is going to be important in a minute. Okay, and it's lighting up, which looks cool. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, let's fix this map. Now, temperatures, when you talk about temperatures, this is in Kelvin. It's the same as light bulbs. We talk about light bulbs being in Kelvin and everything. The lower the temperature, the more it is yellow. The higher the temperature, the more it goes towards blue, right? So doing this will make this star into a blue star or a white star. And you'll see that because it'll come out as a whiter star than the yellow stars behind it. See? So, okay, now we've got the function going. So now all the hard math is done. At least I hope. So we'll go from the top again. We've got all of these stars. This is Moment heading out here. Then we move in to our inner star systems. Over here. Pothea. Duplicate node. Move you to here on the other side of the wastes. Or in the wastes, I guess. And you are, that's platoon, this is Bone. Bone. Probably not a fun place to be. I'm assuming it will be a ridiculously nasty place to be. Not to be confused with Dripso. Dang it, I moved bone. I didn't mean to move bone. I need to move this one. This one's Dripso. I like Dripso. It's probably really Dripso. But that's right. I like it anyway. I think it's a stupid name. What idiot came up with that name? Oh, yeah, that's me. Oh, well. And then we'll duplicate the node. And we'll make Sidipso. No, stop moving the one that's supposed to stay. We'll make Sidipso. These maps will stay the same for the remainder of my comics. I will spend a lot of time in here. So I'm not that worried that I have spent this much effort and time making these maps, because they are exactly this one's Navis. I want to put an M in that apparently. This one is, and that leaves us our one rando star that didn't ever really receive a name and now needs to receive a name. That's you. Look at our random star generator thing. And I will come up with a name for it. Places and locations. I like Rogar. That's good. That's a good name. That's a good name. None of these look like fun places to be. Okay. We're also going to have to make sure that we get moment. And somebody's camera is in the way. You're in the way. Go for the top view again. And we will say duplicate node. And this time we'll take this moment. We'll take this moment to move over here to the Unity and get kind of an idea of who is in this zone of the Unity. Now, our Unity maps are on a different page. Okay, well, there's that. So let's talk a little bit about Unity maps, because we don't have the Unity in here. I am going to look over in my satchel to see if I have a Unity map in here. Because sometimes I do the map work and it's right here. And we already have the names of the Unity written out here. All right. So we're going to talk about the unity. Talk about the unity. Right? The unity kind of heads off into one zone. I'm going to write all these stars in because gap jump is really high. Holy crap, I didn't realize the gap jump was that high. I'm just going to sketch in real quick the stars of the unity. We've got gap jump, port long fall. Oh, a top-down version of this? Or is this just not going to be that way? It is going to be that way. This is, as usual, I have lost every viewer but you, Brent. I'm not even sure I have you. Sorry, sneezing again. Which is here. Okay, now we can actually kind of see where the stars are on these. The thing is, I really kind of want to look, maybe on the right view. Like, I can't really tell where things are. Right, there we go, stars. The right view will tell us a little bit about altitude. And that's what this back grid is for, is to tell us what our altitude is for each one of these. So each square is an AU. And so all I need to do is align these stars correctly so that they are straight up and down, right? So this cylinder needs to be here to be actually accurate. The good news is I didn't actually work very hard on these stars. So these guys are all randos. They're not completely random, but they are random. As opposed to the stars that are actually in Unity, those are real stars with real altitudes and stuff like that. So I've got to give them their correct locations on the map. So we're going to have to load up the stars from Unity. And they'll come up here. And gap jump's altitude is 51. So effectively way the hell up here. Because it's actually here. Right? It's above the next plane of things, which makes me then wonder, where should moment be? Right? Because here's moment, and it should be an entry into the system. So this should be either that jump or Port Longfall. Where's Port Longfall? Port Longfall's at 46. So we'll just duplicate this node. And we'll call this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 46. So Port Longfall is going to be here. Fine. I've done it again. Now, what we've got here is a failure to communicate. Now we need to get port long fall. That's you, because you actually belong right here. Right? No. Oh, that's port long fall. That's not gap jump. Gap jump lives here. Oh, God. Okay, so port long fall is sort of where you are at the end of the gap and or right at the gap. So let's go on ahead and get the cylinder and then duplicate it. And we'll go ahead and head down here. Good port long fall, which should be right there. I'm noticing that this is not as high up as it should be. Anyway, let's do parameters, Y scale. And that way we can kind of see where port long fall belongs on the map. And now you can kind of see how this is going to work. You'll be able to see in here quite a bit. Gap jump is super high and super out of this map, I'm starting to feel like. Just saying. Because there's breakwater, which is the next start over. Okay. Breakwater is out there in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know what number breakwater is. We've got all of this stuff to make this work. And now I have the master lists. All right. So number 10 is breakwater. There. Can't read anything anymore. Right? Breakwater. There. Breakwater is at an altitude of 53. So that's the same thing we've got going on here. Breakwater, which really this shouldn't be gap jump. This should just be breakwater. Actually, higher up than top view, because this is breakwater. Okay, breakwater is in place. We'll get that cylinder and we'll duplicate it while we're at it. Duplicate node, put it in breakwater. And then that way we'll have a good perspective view. You can see breakwater is way the hell out there and very, very high up. Like past our map, high up. Which helps. It's kind of fun. Now you can kind of see where some of these guys are. We should also go back to right view. Because some of these guys are still not randomized really enough. thinking about the logic of where stars kind of ponder out and stuff like that. We want kind of a distribution of it so that from the perspective view, they're kind of scattered all over the place. That makes some sense. It's sort of the natural tendency of stars to just spatter out. Stars are a product of various things. Like this is moments cylinder. Right? Help you make sure we're directly under moment there. Perspective. Get kind of an idea of where moment is. There we go. Right. Take this guy, duplicate node. Go right here. What is that? Carlton hold. That's where you are. Right. Nope. You have now officially screwed it up. All right. Because this guy's Carlton. It's a cylinder. And this guy is merely a keep. Merely. It's merely a keep. Duplicate that node. This to merely a keep. And this is one of those. Merely a keep is right on. Oh, this guy needs to be dropped just a hair. To there. So it's right on line. Really isn't anything on the other side of the wall exclusion zone. Now that I'm looking here, all of the stuff that's underneath it isn't really much of a threat. So that's okay. There we go. And duplicate the node. And we'll move this one right here. And then we'll raise that all the way up until it meets its star. And I'm not even really sure who that star is. It's under 4. It's Weslow's Keep. Or Weslow's Citadel. Right? Okay, good. I'll duplicate this node. Belongs to Yalora. Way at the bottom. There we go. And we will duplicate this node. This goes on for a while. Not the most exciting show we've ever had, but that's okay. This will be cool when it's done. And this belongs to Bastien de la Marceau. De Marceau. The Bastien de Marceau. Okay, the back stars. Let's get those guys. And this guy goes back here to Pothea. You are Potheas. Make sure you run down just enough. I'm actually like really happy about this. I know, it doesn't, you'd be like, you're probably insane. And, you could be right. I am somewhat insane, but look at these maps. They're coming out really cool. If they miss their star entirely. Right? Bone. Just love the name Bone. It's like, that's a ridiculous name for a star. Not as good as Dripso, though. Dripso is just awesome. I'm glad you're still enjoying this show, my friend. Duplicate nodes. You are here for all of this. Rogar. We should probably also head to Dripso. But here's the thing. I now intimately understand this area. And that's very important to me. Because I can tell now when I make my stories, there's a real physical place, even if it's an imaginary physical place. It's still like a real place that I physically understand. It's not quite tactile. I mean, I can't really physically feel it like, like it's an actual location, but it is very, very close to Bethune. Right? But like the entirety of this, having a physicality to it is so important. Okay, now move it over to this point right here, and this becomes Alcree. Right. A certain amount of just real physicality. This is really kind of cool about. You are Nappus, where everybody goes to take a nap. We discussed this before. We already know this, right? You and I know this, Nappus. I feel like Nappus should have a gem that it creates called Nazuli. You can call it Nappus Nazuli. I think that's a joke for my mom. Sidipso. All right. Okay, we've got all the stars in the wall exclusion zone. that looks pretty badass, actually. Let's go ahead and render it, see what it looks like. Try to get it just so I can get all of the stars at least seen here. While it's rendering, I'll go to my Excel and decode everything. Because the hub, let's see here, the hub, okay, number one, gotcha. 2 Hudson's Light, oh, no. Look at that. That looks actually pretty cool. Nice. Okay. Feel like we're doing good here. Cancel real quick. Because we're good, but let's go ahead and change these stars out. Surfaces. Marley, keep. And give it. We're just going to, for right now, randomize the temperatures so that they're not all the same. That should prove to be interesting. But I mean, there's got to be 1 or 2 red stars out here, right? All right. That could be interesting. Now let's take a look at that. Right? Let's see what that did. What kind of trouble did that cause? Right? Look at that. Look at that. That's what we should be looking at. Now we have a star map that's acting like a star map. I'm going to let that go ahead and render all the way down just to get an idea of what we got going on here. Clearly, I'm freezing a lot. Okay, I'm joking. I'm not freezing. So now we can actually kind of see what's going on in this zone. Which is pretty kick butt, actually. The only problem I'm seeing here is that the back walls are washing out, and they probably shouldn't. So let's go on ahead and do some stuff. So the back wall, let's go ahead and hit the back wall here. And let's talk a little bit about what it is. Go to the content library. We'll make it a missive. A missive. All right, we'll turn off the gloss because we don't want it to be glossy. We'll make it white because we want it to be whitey. And then we'll put the X wall back in because really people. And then we'll make this emissive. Make the temperature all the way white. And we'll bring the profile distance down to 500 so it doesn't have a lot of bloom, I hope. Because, boy, wouldn't it suck if I just messed that up? Not that bad. I can always copy the other wall in and just move it over and delete it in the worst case scenario. Well, now it looks like it's in a snowstorm. We just washed the whole stupid thing out. Yep, so we ruined it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can fix this. Don't do that, though, right? Like, that's not the way to fix this problem. That's funny. Duplicate node. There we go. We blew it up. It was funny. It was a funny thing. We blew it up. We blew it up. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to move in like so. Because legitimately, this is how we're going to do this star chart thing. I'm going to try to make it so you can see all the stars. There we go. We're actually going to move to there. Move up. Because we don't really need to see the top aspect of this that much. And actually, I'm kind of thinking that at this point in time, I might turn everything off that's below this chamber at this point to just get an idea of what's going on in this 10-unit zone. Take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got, guys. I am not going to lie. I like the way that looks. The only problem is bloom is not happening when there's no background. So we may have made a tactical error on this. This is the first map, so we knew that there was going to plausibly be problems. But here's the biggest thing I'm noticing. So let's go on ahead and do this fix here. We've got floor. I'm actually going to take floor. I'm going to change its displacement map for the X sidewall. I'm going to do the same thing here. You're going to say, why would you do that, guy? Why in the world would you change that for, where's the Y sidewall? Okay, why did we not have the Y sidewall in here? They've got different doodly wops on them. Says I don't know. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take the floor and connect it to the X or to the Y wall, and take the X wall and do the same thing. And the reason is that way I can take this Y wall unit and we're going to bring the entire Y wall unit up as a unit, so that this is at the middle of the box, the pizza box sort of thing. So we can do this. We need to be able to label all the stars, so there's got to be a spot exactly right where I can hit all this stuff and make it work. So there we go. Let's take a look. Now, the background grids are still not illuminating like I want them to. And I feel like they're all reflecting the light, which is not exactly what I was after, but I can sort of see where it happens. Like, I'm not getting anything from the bottom at all. I find that to be kind of a troublesome thing. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Surfaces. The plus 40 line, we've got sort of a diffuse color going down. That makes sense. Ambient color. And the fact that the line isn't actually on the ambient color and pass through could be a problem. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll have to see. The other thing it kind of gets me is, how is it? It's not you. It's just this way. How is it, out of curiosity, that the word unity is gray, but the word the gap is black? They should be the same. And I'm not sure why I'm getting sort of I mean, I can see even here, I can see sort of a gray outline around things. I'm not sure what that means or why I've got this gray or gray-white outline on things. Because the transparency map should be an invert exactly of the regular map. And the next question is really, should we have then a camera that looks at this from an orthographic mode, right? So we'll call this orthographic. And it won't really be orthographic. Because that actually is kind of disturbing. People don't really go for orthographic that well. But what if we were to take, and instead of doing this the other way, this guy's got like sort of this long lens thing going for him, or a short lens, not long, short lens. So we'll instead use a long lens and see how that looks. And is this more readable? Right? These are the questions that kind of preoccupy me. Like, would this be a more readable format in sort of a semi-orthographic mode? Orthographic is the opposite of perspective. So if you have a camera set in perspective mode, um, and you're looking at an object like, let's say, a square, right? It's got 4 points. In perspective mode, the closer it gets to the camera, the more these points get wider apart and these points stay close together. In an orthographic mode, they're exactly lined up like this because there's no perspective left. It takes all the perspective out. We're not doing true orthographic because that really does kind of get funky. So instead, what I'm doing is, what if we looked at this from the point of view of a camera set with a, say, well, what did we set it for? 396 millimeter lens, right? A very long lens that gives the same effect. Everything starts to flatten out the more you sort of niche in on things. So, but this looks, frankly, more readable. And it may be that this is what needs to happen, right? So that may be something we do. And you can read a lot more of the things that are on here. Like there's some more uh, viable stuff. But if you look at that, that's a pretty solid map. We need to turn that bloom down just a little bit more because it is still just a little hot, right? Even from here, it's like the stars that get back into that back corner over there get clumped and they're all together in one big bloomy thing. And the next thing I want to do is also put binaries and stuff like that, functional binaries in. And once that happens, it's going to be so difficult to see things. So, okay. So maybe we do want this. This is probably more readable, right? I mean, looking at this, I'm thinking this is a much more readable format, right? I mean, I can see names of things. I can see kind of how things work. So let's go for that. We'll use this mode. And we'll just use the perspective to get in there and fix stuff. Okay, so like the bastion, I made into a red star. It really doesn't need to be. It can just be a very, very cold star, like you, way down here. And then we're going to duplicate the node. And this is B. We're going to give it a very small companion. We're actually going to take make your parameters. We're going to scale you down. You're the little companion that goes with Bastion Dualisaur. And your surfaces are, we're going to make you a little bit of an oranger star, but you're smaller. You're not dying out here. So if we put you up in about 4,500, it should come out as a little yellow, right? And so let's double check that. We'll do a quick render here and see what happens. Yep. So now we've got that red. The dwarf is very red. It's a red dwarf. And it's not actually, it's a red giant is what that reads as. Red giant with a little G-class star secondary. What that system will show up like is you can have a planet around that G secondary that probably is not scorched to death, but it might be scorched to death. So that secondary there is going to that secondary star then has a little planet going around it, while that star then goes around the red giant. That red giant then is going to rise every day and then fall every day and set and everything. And you'll have two suns rising and setting on that world. A mess, unpleasant mess, but it'll work. Okay, we're going to move you. No, we're going to move you into the bastions. We missed it. We missed it. There. And what we're going to do then is take the bastion and we're going to make the cylinder move over. The cylinder is between the two. That's sort of the apex point, right? Because that's what we kind of want. And this gives us a world that we can work with. And the system now can be placed on its marker exactly right. And we have a binary, a functional binary. Binaries make up probably 40% of the stars. So we're going to take a lot of these stars and make them into binary. I like Bone being its own stupid self. Duplicate the node and it'll become Panthea B. I don't know what Bone is, but I'm having a lot of fun with that particular star. It's just, I don't know what's going on there, but the entertainment value is stupidly high. So there's that. Okay, Panthea B is going to be this is going to actually be a totally functional binary that is a twin. So they're both whatever class stars we had them as before. They are those. Okay, the show is almost over for the week. I'll be back on Monday, but not Tuesday, obviously, as we head into, right? It's a happy little star. It's just a happy little star. It's happy. And a star. I'll be back on Monday, but starting Tuesday, I will be at IndyK. So we will go on ahead and make that work. And we'll be back then the following Wednesday. So, and hopefully, I now have a chiropractor meeting or whatever where they're going to pop my back and all that stuff. So, Wednesday is going to be it's Star Trek Day, but also Tuesday. So Wednesday morning should be the first time that I'll be back. I will. I'll think of you because wish you were kind of there. Um, because we're having a hard time seeing it at this point. And actually, I kind of like the idea of maybe just making it slightly different. So it's not quite identical. Next year. You'll be there next year. Anyway, we'll render one more time to look at Pothea A and B. Man, Bone is a ridiculous little planet. It's not only is it like a lousy place to live, but it looks like it's like a frickin' orange red star. So it's just a brutal place. That's not going to be any fun. The people who live on Bone, just asking for trouble. Okay, that looks good. We'll leave you with Pothea, binary, and looks pretty cool out there in the middle of Nowheresville. Okay. Looks good to me. Huh. All right, guys. Well, that's all we're going to do for today. And I will see you then on Monday. And thank you for joining me, Brent. I really do appreciate it. And I'm always glad to have your company. Okay, guys. So we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye. Computer, good night.